Welcome back to the Growth Mindset Podcast. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Alex. Today, we're diving into a topic that many English learners find challenging, but also incredibly powerful for fluency: the practice of thinking directly in English.
It sounds simple, doesn't it? Just think in English. But for learners, especially those past the beginner stage, breaking free from translating everything in their heads can feel like a huge hurdle.
It really can. And applying a growth mindset is key to successfully making this shift.
So let's first talk about the default mode for many learners: translation. When you want to say something, you form the sentence in your native language, then translate it word for word or phrase by phrase into English.
This approach feels safe because you're relying on your established understanding of your first language, but it significantly hinders fluency. It slows you down because your brain is doing double work. It also often results in unnatural sounding English because you're forcing native language structures onto English vocabulary.
Exactly. And a fixed mindset can keep you stuck in this trap. You might think, my English isn't good enough to think directly, or it's too hard, I'll just stick to translating. You see the difficulty of thinking directly as proof that you lack the ability, rather than seeing it as a skill that needs practice.
There's also a fear of making internal mistakes. If you think in your head and mess up grammar or vocabulary, a fixed mindset might see that as a failure, making you reluctant to even try thinking directly.
Shifting to thinking in English is a fundamental growth practice. It moves you towards an intuitive understanding of the language. Instead of processing through the filter of your native tongue, you start connecting English words and phrases directly to concepts, ideas, and images.
This dramatically increases your processing speed. When someone asks you a question, your brain accesses the English response directly rather than going native language, English translation, response. That saves precious seconds and makes conversation feel much more natural.
It also helps you absorb and use English grammar and vocabulary more effectively. When you think in English, you start noticing and internalizing how native speakers structure sentences and use phrases in context, rather than just memorizing rules or lists.
And critically, a growth mindset sees thinking in English as a skill to be developed. It won't be perfect overnight. It will be slow, messy, and full of gaps at first. But every attempt, every internal struggle to find the right word or structure is practice that builds the mental pathways needed for fluency.
Okay, so how do you actually start doing this? It can feel abstract. The key, as with many growth mindset practices, is to start incredibly small and make it a conscious habit.
Right. Begin with labeling the world around you. Look at an object, your coffee cup, a tree, your computer, and just think the English word for it. Coffee cup, tree, computer. Don't translate. Link the image directly to the English word.
Move to simple observations. Silently narrate your actions or surroundings in English. I am standing up. The sky is blue. My cat is sleeping on the chair. This is your internal inner monologue shifting languages.
Practice thinking in simple sentences about basic concepts. What color is this? It is red. How many? 3. What am I doing? I am sitting. Keep it simple to build confidence.
Connect English words directly to images or feelings, bypassing your native language. When you learn a new word like excited, associate it with the feeling of excitement, maybe an image, not the translated word in your language.
A growth mindset helps you be patient here. You won't be writing internal essays immediately. Celebrate thinking one simple sentence without translation. That's a win. Focus on increasing the frequency and complexity gradually.
Once you're comfortable with basic labeling and simple sentences, how do you deepen the practice?
Start having internal dialogues about slightly more complex things. Plan your day in your head in English. Think about what you need to do at work or school. Mentally review a movie or book you just experienced, summarizing it in English.
This is where you'll inevitably hit vocabulary and grammar gaps. You'll want to think something but realize you don't know the word or how to structure the sentence. This is gold from a growth mindset perspective.
Exactly. Don't let it be a roadblock. See it as a flag highlighting a learning opportunity. Make a mental note or a physical one in a language journal. Look up the word or grammar point later, and then actively try to use it in your internal thinking practice.
Dealing with the frustration is key. it will feel slow and clunky compared to thinking in your native language. A fixed mindset gets discouraged and gives up. A growth mindset accepts this discomfort as a necessary part of the learning curve. Remind yourself that this effort is building fluency.
Using a language journal can be very helpful. Try writing a paragraph or two about your day or thoughts directly in English. You'll quickly see where your thinking is limited by your current English level, giving you specific areas to work on.
So, beyond making internal life easier, how does thinking in English impact your outward language skills?
The most significant impact is on speaking and listening fluency. When you think directly in English, you reduce the cognitive load and processing time, allowing you to understand spoken English faster and respond more quickly and naturally. You're no longer translating on the fly.
It makes your English feel more intuitive. Phrases, idioms, and grammatical structures start to feel right because you've internalized them through use in your internal thought processes. You sound less like you're translating and more like you're actually speaking English.
It also reinforces learning. New vocabulary and grammar stick better when you actively use them, even just in your thoughts. It's constant, low-stakes practice.
This practice integrates English more deeply into your daily life. It stops being just something you study or use in class, work, and becomes a tool for processing the world around you. This fuels continuous, natural growth.
Ultimately, it helps solidify your identity as an English speaker. You're not just someone learning English, you're someone who uses English as a tool for thinking and understanding. That's a powerful shift driven by a growth mindset.
So, if you're ready to move beyond translation and unlock a new level of English fluency, start practicing thinking in English.
Begin small. Be patient with yourself. View challenges as learning opportunities, and trust that this consistent internal effort will culminate in more spontaneous and natural English communication.
Embrace the awkwardness, celebrate the small wins, and keep practicing. Your English brain is ready to grow. You can find show notes, resources, and a transcript of this episode on podcast description.
Thanks for tuning into the GM Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review.
Hinders. English definition: creates difficulties for someone or something, resulting in delay or obstruction, impedes. Example sentence: but it significantly hinders fluency. Intuitive. English definition: using or based on what one feels to be true even without conscious reasoning, effortless or natural. Example sentence: it moves you towards an intuitive understanding of the language. Inner monologue. English definition: an internal conversation one has with oneself, the process of thinking to oneself. Example sentence: this is your internal inner monologue shifting languages. Articulate. English definition: verb, express, an idea or feeling, fluently and coherently, form a joint, adjective, having or showing the ability to speak fluently and coherently, used as a verb in the script example context. Example sentence: you'll want to think something but realize you don't know the word or how to articulate the sentence. Seamlessly. English definition: smoothly and continuously, with no apparent gaps or sudden changes. Example sentence: this practice integrates English more deeply into your daily life and becomes a tool for processing the world around you seamlessly.